Hello, good evening, and welcome to Thailand's Live at 45. I had a sleep for an hour earlier on. I pretty much flaked out. I had something to eat in Cheap Charlie's and then went back to the room. I'm now out for my evening stroll on Jomtien beachfront. This part of it is very quiet. It's lovely. You can hear the waves hitting the sand, and it's got that real holiday feel to it. Yeah, I love it. It's quiet. In my life, I have lived in the inner city in the UK, where it's not for the faint-hearted, I'm afraid. And I now live in a tower block as well. So to be not in a tower block by the coast is just good enough in itself. If there was nothing here, bars or anything like that, it would just be good enough for me for a while, because of getting away from the grind of living in a Western city in social housing. Okay, yeah, so I was thinking about earlier about what I said about the trash in British culture. Now, when I did the old postgraduate diploma, I studied psychology first at undergraduate level, and then I went on to do social work at postgraduate level. And I think the problem with when you've got trash in a culture, the best examples. Now, these movies are not trash. They are cinematic masterpieces, but they did have an adverse effect on people. So I'll just talk about them. The first one is The Italian Job. It's a great British classic. However, when it was released in something like 1969, a lot of youth went to see it and then started to commit copycat acts of stealing cars, Minutes, Cooper S's. They couldn't afford them, so they would steal them. One guy was in the Army Reserve with him and his friends stole 18 Mini Cooper S's, lined them all up in a pub car park whilst drunk, and then called the police and told them that they'd done it. He received a custodial sentence for that. He was a nice guy, actually. I got on quite well with him. We were friends. I went to Germany with him once. Yeah, he was all right. But and the other film is Clockwork Orange. Clockwork Orange was never banned in the UK. It was withdrawn by Stanley Kubrick, who made the film, because of copycat acts that went on. Okay, which I would say the part where they bang on the writer's door and then attack them, probably people copy. Now, this is to do with what is called the human mind. So this is why I say about trash. The human mind, psyche, you know, the way that our brain is made up and functions, has three parts to it. It has the conscious, which we're in now. You know, everything is real. We know it's real, and we act accordingly within that reality. Okay, and then you've got the superego. Now, the superego is the set of rules that you grow up with, and the set of rules that are in society. Okay, so the majority of people wouldn't go in a shop and steal things. They wouldn't steal a car, and they would abide by rules that were given them as children, or rules that are in society. If we went back 50 years ago, a lot of people would obey religious rules in the UK, because it was what was laid down in the Bible. It goes into their superego, and then they abide by those rules. So if you've got if a lot to hold you together, your superego will stop you doing things that are antisocial, all right? Now the problem comes with what is called the subconscious. Now the subconscious, the best example of the subconscious is if you watch a horror film before you go to bed, your subconscious, which is part of your mind, your brain, doesn't know if a film is real or not, okay? Because it's separate from the superego, it's separate from reality. So what happens is you start watching a horror film and your subconscious acts on it, okay? So it actually thinks that's what's happening, all right? So Dracula's there, love at first bite, and drinking the blood of some innocent virgin, and your subconscious thinks it's real. So when you go to sleep, your superego really gets its head down and your conscious mind is resting, but the the subconscious carries on, yeah? And then you start to get nightmares, all right? Now, for some people who may have had a bad start in life, remember, you can have a bad start in life even if you're wealthy, all right? If your home life isn't good, and remember, anything, the formation of a personality starts when the fetus is in the womb, okay? All right, it absorbs what is going on around it, okay? So if you're in a house where there's domestic violence, trauma, that type of thing, you may not have the best superego in the world, all right? But you may abide by all the rules, yeah, okay, but one day, like in the past, you go to the cinema, you sit down quiet, and you watch something which then acts on your subconscious. All right, and then you start to break the law, all right? The same comes with trash television. There's an element of control with it. While you're distracted by things like Love Island, Big Brother, all those other sort of trash or tabloid shows, you're not looking at the main problem around you, all right? So the main problem around you at the moment is the Western world's in crisis, okay? But this isn't to talk about that. This is to talk about national distractions and the way that trash television really affects the masses, okay? So remember, those with a sort of dodgy superego set of rules, they will start to watch trash television. And then what happens is, you are what you input, yeah? So if you continuously input trash, you then, if you're the wrong type of person, become trash yourself, okay? So you start to act and behave like what you see on television, all right? Okay, now television in the 70s, early 70s, was actually unregulated, so they used to show some hardcore stuff. But on the other side, they used to show some very educational and very interesting stuff, some groundbreaking documentaries. I mean, you don't get programs like The Undersea World of Jacques Cousteau anymore. He was a sort of groundbreaking guy over ecology and that. You do get wildlife programs, but you don't get these sort of like Jacques Cousteau was the inventor of the bubble-less what do you call it, the air canisters, you know, the diving canisters they wear on the back for the air, that the commando forces used to sink enemy ships where they'd swim out to them. Yeah, he was a sort of amateur type guy who broke ground that hadn't been broken before, and you don't get that now because it's, in a way, it's all been done, so it all becomes mainstream and boring. Yeah, so like I said, it's very dangerous what television pumps into people. I mean, I remember going back, people had cable, yeah, and raved about it, so I got cable, right? In the 90s, I switched it on, and Father, Dear Father with Patrick Cargill came on the screen, which was a sitcom, mediocre sitcom. It was quite funny, but it wasn't anything to... And I thought, why am I paying for something that I've already seen in about 1972? And it seemed to be full of that. They'd have Man About the House, Father Dear Father, various other shows that have been sold by the BBC to a cable company to show, alright? I used to like the World War II stuff on there, by a company called Nugas Martin used to make this stuff, and by all accounts it's a real money spinner because you don't have to do anything. World War II's already happened, so you don't have to put it on, alright? You buy in the footage, okay, or the license for it or whatever, you know, all the newsreel stuff, and then you get somebody in with a posh English voice who sounds very sort of gritty, and you know, you could almost be Formula One stroke Flyer Spitfire, to talk over it, narrate it, and Bob's your uncle. You've got a money spinner there because people watch it. I watch it, yeah. I wouldn't say that's trash though. It's informational. A lot can be learned from the past to solve problems today. But yeah, trash TV is literally not good for you. It's, like I said, I mean, they withdrew the Jeremy Kyle show, didn't they? Because sadly a man committed suicide who was on there. Jeremy Kyle, I found him aggressive. Okay, there was a thing on Radio 4 that I listened to, BBC Radio 4, and a girl who was a member of the production crew, okay, was talking about her experiences on there. Now that was made up in Manchester, in the same studio that Bernard Manning's Will Tappers and Shunters Social Club used to be filmed on a Saturday night, you know, with Colin Crompton on that fire bell, kept ringing it and going on the committee, right? It was the same studio, all right? And her experiences was that with the Jeremy Kyle show, which is the ultimate tabloid trash, appalling mess of television, in my opinion, what happened? They took on, as crew, you know, production crew, very working class people. And the girl said, you know, she grew up in a council estate and she couldn't believe it. She just got a job in television, right? Sort of, you know, that's like on a creative level winning the lottery. But once she was there a while, she twigged it, okay? I mean, she was a graduate, well educated, but it was very working class people, and powers that be, I think it was Independent Television who produced that, were using staff from the working class to get away with the behaviour that was on there, because there was a general consensus that I think she might have said something about the way they were doing it, and it was just she was shut up in a manner that you would be if you were in a council estate pub. Quit your moaning or something like that, you know. Do you know what I mean? What, you on the wind up? You know, don't wind me up, man. You know, that type of thing. And that's the way that the powers that be, I think it was independent television, did it, which was they used people who lacked opportunity, and on the premise that they thought that those people would be grateful. Okay. Yeah, it's, you get your see your old what the wealthier ones who go to these private schools, they land up, they're entitled. Okay, so they see themselves as entitled to get a job in television. Okay, it's their right. Okay, or get a job in the arts or whatever. But working class people, even if they are educated, there is an entitlement. There's what is called being grateful. Okay, so if you are grateful for where you are and the job you've been given and the social status it has with that, okay, you're going to go along with a lot of things that other people are not, all right, because you feel as though you owe them, all right. And this is what they did to create the Jeremy Kyle show. All right, and Jeremy Kyle is a paid presenter. What he's like in his personal life, I don't know. All right, I mean, in a lot of it, it's an act. But the way that the management did on ITV was to use people, and use people that they think would be grateful, to produce trash as a distraction. As people are watching that, they're getting involved in that, they act like it. When people are arguing amongst themselves, they're not arguing about bigger issues whatsoever. All right. The great thing about making a video is people leave you alone. I don't get accosted by people, would you like to do this or that? Yeah. But like I said, that is that's the issue with trash TV. Okay, every Western country does it. It's, I don't know why. There used to be some great television going back. Yeah, really great stuff back in the 70s, early 80s, late 60s. Obviously, as an adult, I don't watch Doctor Who now, but I used to watch it with Tom Baker when I was young. Really good stuff. And How was another one. And then in the 80s, children's television changed. I was still sort of watching it at about 16, and it went to, I was 16 in 1980, so you'd still watch it even in sort of early 80s. You'd come home from work, okay, and start watching kids TV because you're only a kid. And it seemed to go downhill a bit, all right. I was a big fan of Blue Peter. Magpie, I used to find a bit of a B-rate version of Blue Peter. It wasn't quite so good. No, their trips weren't so good. I remember, one guy on there, Mick Robertson, Jenny Hanley and somebody else, they all went on a trip to Brazil and they visited a coffee factory, which was really boring. But Blue Peter went to Ceylon and rode on an elephant, which is now Sri Lanka. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, and you had Val meets the VIPs and all that, didn't you? And Go with Noakes. That was great. John Noakes was ex-Royal Air Force. He did the highest parachute jump of a civilian ever, 5 miles up. Real action man. Yeah, real good role model. Yeah, good stuff. But sadly, all that, I mean, I build models, yeah, so I finished one large model, okay, probably an RAF patrol boat, 3 foot, built of wood, and built by myself, where you need an extra hand. You've got 2 hands, you need another one coming out your backside to hold the thing straight where you're forming the wood. And I wrote to children's television, yeah. And I said, you know, would you like me to come on with the boat? You know, I was in a model club at the time, and the guys down there said, guy ex-Royal Marines, he said, that's a good model, that. I was like, wow, thank you. right? I mean, he was a good builder, ex-corporal from the Marines, and he was in Aden, yeah? And they never even got back to me. Yeah, I said, you know, this got to be better than drugs and carving each other up with knives and things. And didn't even get back to me. I would have gone, I would have took it on there, yeah, but nothing. But like I said, I mean, they obviously pump in trash to children now as well. I mean, you have these sort of like computer generated things that they want, I don't know. Yeah, so like I said, it's up to you whether you watch trash or not, but it was that element. The BBC subcontracted out that programme on Pattaya, and perhaps the woman who presented it was used a little bit. She's coming from tabloid-esque TV to what is a serious documentary. I think for where she started, she did very well, actually. I'm not going to decry her. She did well, all right, on presenting. She's not in the league of the Stacey Dooleys and the Reggie Yates, though. They're major league. They do very good documentaries for BBC Three. I haven't seen Reggie Yates for a while, but they do. Reggie Yates, he became a prison guard in America. Yeah, Stacey Dooley did some hardcore stuff as well, which is good, yeah. But that girl, it was her sort of first outing on something serious, and I think she did okay. Yeah. Say she's watching this, well done, it was very good. But I feel that the way the show was made was either naive, or the BBC subbed it out so they don't get blamed for spending license payers' money. And remember, with the BBC, you've got to pay that under threat of prosecution. All right, so if you don't pay, you've got to pay the license fee, which goes towards their wages, yeah. And if you don't pay it, you can't watch any other channel. All right, you can't just watch ITV because you can't do that. So you've got to pay a TV license, yeah. I mean, Richard Bryars used to get on there. The unique way it's funded, yeah, dragging pensioners in the court. Case in the early 80s where a bloke bought his elderly parents a video recorder. They had a black and white television. Well, anyway, licensing went round to their house and did them, okay, because what they said is the video recorder was receiving a colour signal, yeah. So they were literally watching BBC television without a licence, and dragged them into court. They were probably about 80 and prosecuted them. I mean, that's the unique way it's funded, okay, by putting people under threat and dragging them into court. It's wrong, okay, because all this started off as a radio license in the 1930s, and it was only the BBC who had a radio station, all right, and we now live in a world of multimedia and this, that and the other. And I think maybe the BBC subbed that programme out because, one, they suffer with less funding than they had, and two, well, you can blame a smaller production company if people find it a piece of trash cheese, yeah, shall we say, all right, a generalisation, all right. Now, as you can see, I'm stood in the seafront in Jomtien. I love evening walks, yeah. It really sort of, I don't know, just clears out the cobwebs of being at home. I don't want to call it seafront, the beachfront opposite is full of street food vendors and various other sort of people hanging about that I don't really have anything to do with, all right. I'm going to go in a 7-Eleven and buy a small snack before I sleep. I mean, some of this fried food, I mean, it's all right if you've had a few, isn't it? I mean, if you've been drinking, you've got that hunger on you, aren't you? Yes, I want fried chicken. Yeah. I want fried chicken, I want bread, I want another beer, yeah. Okay, but I don't have that. I haven't been drinking. So what I will do is go into 7-Eleven and get something light. And it's coming up, so it's probably gone. I mean, I woke up at 9:30. I laid on the bed about 7. I just felt tired, and that was it. I went out for about an hour. Cold, yeah, which I've had this before in Thailand. The tiredness, I think, of the jet lag catches up on you, and you flake out, yeah. And then you go in this sort of like, you're awake, you feel refreshed, but you can still go back and go to bed, all right. But like I said, there's the street food vendors if you're here. I mean, these guys gather here in the evening to catch people coming off of work, people coming out of bars. But like I said, I mean, you can feel the sort of quietness here as opposed to central Pattaya, which is sort of 24-hour city that never sleeps. Oh, it does actually. It all shuts down about 2 o'clock. I mean, I've been in a bar on Soy Bacau in the past where they're throwing the shutters down at 2 in the morning, right? And I'm in there drinking, yeah. But here is a far more quieter feel to it, more relaxed, which I prefer because it means I can dip in and out of central Pattaya. If I want to. It's 20 baht. What's that? That's about £1, all right. Okay, it's about 80 pence a pound to get there and back. So it's £2, pound there, pound back. I mean, you couldn't do that at home on the bus, could you? I mean, all flat fares in my city are 250, yeah, and a lot of the services are not there. All right. I mean, I used to do that job, and I don't know what it is, fuel prices, local council. A lot of people blame the bus company, but it's not. It's the fault of the local government. All right. You should have dedicated bus lanes in every British city. Okay. Public transport is the name of the game nowadays. They've got electric buses. Let's save the planet, yeah, which is good. But local government put in hardcore dedicated bus lanes so people can go from suburb A to city centre B, yeah. And yeah, and no cars, yeah, keep cars out, yeah, apart from, like, you know, people deliver stuff and that, but keep the cars out, and public transport. I just got myself one of these over 60 rail cards, yeah. I don't have a car at home. I've got a small motorbike and I use the bus. Because of being a bus driver for a few years, I can read bus timetables with comparative ease and work out how to get myself around on them, yeah? So, like I said, I catch the bus and I also use a train. So after this trip, this current one, I may go and visit some places in Britain, which I've been meaning to, but being over 60, I can't be bothered to get out of the chair. It's easier to sit there building model kits and doing 3D prints and talking about tanks than get up, put a coat on and go down to Torquay. I do suffer from that, yeah. Right, I don't like football. I'm not interested in football whatsoever. Okay, I like military things. I don't watch too many war films nowadays, although I have seen them all in the past 10 times over. But I do like model kits. I like to make things, and I bought a 3D printer not long ago, back in July, and oh, amazing! I mean, the stuff you can make is unbelievable. Yeah. It's a model maker's heaven. I was chatting to a mate of mine, and I wanted to build what's called a Ford GPA, which is a smaller version of a DUKW. All right, and those of you who are interested will know what that is. All right, it's a 4-wheel drive amphibious vehicle, but the smaller version is called a Ford GPA. Now I was going to build it out of ply, because my head's still in the 70s, and buy an electric fretsaw, because my head's still in the 70s. And my mate, who I do the models with, he said to me, look, you're looking at 3D printers, aren't you? I said, yeah. He said, buy one of them. And he said, because you'll get the detail. You won't get that detail if you will, doing it yourself, but if you want the finer, ultimate scale, finer points, get the 3D printer. And he was right. I tell you, I printed off the body of that and the chassis, and unbelievable. Yeah. So I'm pretty. I quite like that. If I had the money, I'd get one which does dual colours. Yeah. It's a single colour one, the one I got at the moment. I actually, funny enough, when I come here, I used to come for a month, and then I would miss being at home, not homesick. I would miss having something to do. All right, so I would miss model building. I used to sit there and miss my models and that what I like to make. And so what I do now is I do 3 weeks. Yeah, and for me that's long enough. I think if I lived here all the time, that hobby is in Thailand. It's, if you build model airplanes, Thailand has got amazing flying weather. Okay, it's warm air. All right, so the lift you're going to get is unbelievable. I mean, this windy like this, it'd be too much. But on a still day, it's amazing flying weather. Yeah, and they've got some natural waterways here if you're in the model boats. There is a model making scene, creative scene in Thailand. I mean, between central Pattaya and between Jomtien, the artists hang out on the fringe of the city. What's it called? Oh, it's called something. The area, and there's a load of artist studios there. So there is a big creative scene with the Thai people. There used to be a woman on Soy Cow that did portraits. She was very good, actually. So there is an arts and creative scene here. So if I lived here, I would probably tie in with that, because I would have to have something to do. I couldn't just sit around all day doing nothing, or I'd find that purgatory, to be honest with you. I really would. I'd find that soul destroying. There are, I mean, you can ship stuff straight from China here, can't you? All the electronics, right? All of it. Yeah, you can ship the whole lot here, which for me would be great. And also, it would mean if I lived here, I could build outside. That means I could build and spray outside. No building in the house at all, or in the flat at all. No mess. No, just build outside, which would be an absolute godsend. Because I live in a 1-bed council flat, yeah? You try spraying stuff in there, alright? I mean, you've got to put a respirator on. You've got to have the windows open, even in the winter, okay, to let the fumes out. I mean, if I've done it where I've been sawing up MDF, yeah, for DIY, and you've got to wear a mask with that, because when the dust comes out of it, it's carcinogenic. And doing that in a flat is not the best way. And you, I mean, I do health and safety. Yeah, I'm an ex-skilled aircraft fitter. Well, I'm still skilled, but I was an aircraft fitter, so health and safety is paramount. But I'm doing jobs in a small space, yeah. And if I lived here, okay, I would have some form. Would I live in a condo? I don't know. I want somewhere down with like a bit of a yard going on. So if I could get that, that would be absolute heaven for me, because I'd spend the majority of my life outdoors. Yeah, and I also love the sea. I love boats. I love the sea. I love snorkeling. All of that. Yeah, that's pretty much my scene. So the old the active side of me, you've got the creative side of me, and then the active side of me is very much the sea, boats, snorkeling. I tried sub-aqua, but I gotta say it, a very friendly bunch of people, and they give you a free try dive. But I suffered with pains in my ears. I don't have a problem because they tell you, they put a mask on you and a tank's on your back, and they say, right, it's unusual that you're going to breathe underwater. So I went down, it was great. You're sort of looking around in a swimming pool, just breathing away, like. And I was alright with that, but after a while I started to get pains in my ears, and it's not an inexpensive hobby. Alright, I think you could do it if you're poor, but it's not inexpensive. There are certain things that do cost. I mean, if you join a club, they would help you in every way. I mean, the club I went to, I think it was Crystal Diving Club or something. They will help you in every way possible. Okay, so they will help you get gear. It's like joining a model club, yeah? So if you join a model boat, model plane club, the guys there will help you with building skills, electronics, all sorts, all the finer points of it that you might struggle with, they'll help you out with it. They, in their meetings in the winter, they do a lecture. I mean, I went to a lecture on LiPo batteries. Now, LiPo batteries, that's what they have in these scooters and all that. They also use them in models, and they are volatile, yeah? Okay, and they've got to be charged with a balance charger, okay, because they have different cells in them, all right? And sadly, these things can catch fire. They are dangerous. You've got to treat it with absolute care, all right? LiPo batteries, even ones that are powering models, because they literally can catch fire if you don't do it right. And I went to a 2-hour lecture about these batteries, and it's worth doing. But yeah, I mean, they help you out no end, don't they? I mean, they'll sell you stuff, second-hand stuff that is delayed. You get helped in any club or association. But I had an issue with my ears, so I gave it up. Yeah. I like to travel, I like to make things, so that's where the majority of my money goes. But when I try it again, I mean, every day here I walk past a sub-aqua place offering, I don't know which lot it is. You've got the PADI, the PADI, or there's another association or something like that. There's the British one in there, I can't remember now. They're offering courses here, alright, which there's an element of temptation in that, alright. Yes, I would love to dive. The one word of warning to you though, let me tell you, last time I was here, I got in the sea for a swim, and the current is very strong there, alright. Also, there's a very steep drop once you get in. It's up to your ankles, and then a couple of feet out, it's up around your waist, alright? And it's a strong current. Another word of warning here is I am a big animal lover. I love cats. Cats are mercenary creatures. They're sociopaths. They pick their owner, and they despise people they don't like, yeah? And they're sort of just up my street, yeah? And I see cats and dogs here, and I am in pieces that I cannot smooth the cats here, yeah? I love animals, and don't get smoothing them, alright? Because rabies is present in Thailand, and on the British government website you are advised not to go near any animals. Now, if you've got Thai friends and they've got pets, all you need to do is say, have they had their rabies inoculation? They will say, yeah, if they're responsible people, and then you can smooth their cat or dog all day, alright, okay? but there are a lot of wild, sort of what they call strays at home, animals here that live on the streets. Do not smooth them, alright, okay? They could turn nasty with you because they're wild, and if you get bitten, you've then got to start a course which lasts a month of rabies treatment, alright, okay? And you don't want that, do you? I mean, it's just don't want it, alright? That's something that, you know. So look after yourself while you're here. As soon as you get home, you can smooth all the cats and dogs you like in the UK, can't you? Alright, because rabies was eradicated in Britain in something like 1922. We used to have it on TV about years ago. Alright, so like I said, take care while you're here. Look after yourself, alright? Don't put yourself in a position where you could be hurt, alright? Okay, or go on with something you wish you didn't, you know, have, alright? Through a very simple thing like smoothing a cat or a dog, alright? Okay, you've got to keep your feelings to yourself, and that's the way it is, I'm afraid. Yeah, like I said, so I'm going to go back now. It's been great talking to you all this evening. It's, I don't know, it's getting on, it must be past 11 now. Alright, but I've done my evening walk, and I do like to stretch my legs at night. Alright, so I'm going to say good night to you all, and I'll see you all again. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and until next time.